If you're new to digital marketing, sometimes the lingo just doesn't make any sense. Hello, my name is Tim Fondrick, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of WhirLocal, where we provide everything you need to market your local business online. And today I want to talk about the difference between a domain, a website, and web hosting, and why does it matter for your local business. And I think this is going to be particularly helpful for newer businesses that are just starting up and they haven't really, you haven't really dove into these different areas. And we get questions all the time about, what is the difference? And hey, wait a minute, I'm a little confused. And so hopefully this video will help you kind of understand a little bit better about the differences. So this is really important though, because let's start with the domain. So the domain itself is let's just jump over there, and it's basically your .com, .org, .net, whatever domain name you can register. And first of all, it's a really important decision that you want to think carefully through. Like how does it relate to your business? Does it have you might want to have a keyword related to it, although that's not as important anymore. Length used to matter a lot more than it does now, but now it's just easy to click and different things, so length doesn't matter as much. But just carefully consider the name and see if it's available on social media, etc. So there's a great site, by the way, when you're thinking about registering a domain name to see if it's on social media. It's called Name Checker. I'll put it in the resources below. But so when you're registering a domain name, this is where your brand will live online, right? Once you get through these other steps. But it's usually done through a registrar, a domain registrar, and we've got things like there's different ones like GoDaddy and Namecheap and there's lots of them, right? So we typically recommend GoDaddy, although I know that's not everybody's favorite. And here's the thing to consider about GoDaddy. They offer, I think they do a relatively good job on domains, but then they try to sell you on everything else. And so you do have to be careful. Like, we don't typically recommend using GoDaddy for a lot of other things. And we've actually had to kind of work through with our customers because GoDaddy is selling them things that they don't really need after they've already done hosting through us, which we're going to talk about. But so just there's lots of options. It's done through a registrar. You own it once you buy it. However, so like if you if you register yourcompany.com, companyname.com, you own it, but then you need to there's an annual fee, right, to maintain ownership. And I talked to somebody yesterday that they didn't realize that. Well, like, wait a minute, I need to pay this annually? I don't really like to pay annually. Well, that is a deal, right? So when you own a domain name, you have to continue to pay for the right to continue owning that. And it's really, really, really important to basically, it's really, really important to make sure and stay up on that, because if you lose a domain, and we have seen this happen way too many times, if you lose access to the domain, it doesn't renew, you lose access to it, somebody else will snatch it up, and then they're going to put their stuff on it in hopes that you'll buy it back for thousands of dollars, right? Or they're going to hold it hostage. Well, that's the last thing you want to do. So pay attention to the renewals. Now, again, it's done through a registrar, and we strongly recommend that you set this up yourself. And instead of delegating it to another company, own the domain. Go in, register, go into GoDaddy, go into Namecheap, go wherever you want to register your domain, and do it in your account. Because that way, if anything ever, if you end a relationship with a company, or then you still have it, or don't rely on your nephew's cousin's brother, something to register it for you, because that's a recipe for disaster if you can no longer get a hold of that person. So really, really important. Be careful to delegate it, and be careful to be very diligent to renew it as it comes up. Also watch for scams, because there's lots of different companies that basically send out renewal notices for your domain. and they're nothing. They're just a scam to try to get you to switch to their company. So pay very close attention. If you register at GoDaddy, make sure you pay attention to the renewals at GoDaddy. Nothing else. All right, so that's the first piece, and let me jump into that's the domain, right? So as we talked about, if you're diligent, you can avoid some sticky situations, and we have seen it all during our help, helping customers, getting access to domains, losing access to domains. If you need any help, my goodness, just give us a call. We're happy to jump on and help you register a new domain in your own account that you have access to. All right, so let's jump into the next piece, which is the website. Now, the website is basically files and code, right? So it's what basically makes up the web pages. And it really is. It's files and code. Now, you can either do it yourself or you can have it done for you. Usually, you can do it the old-fashioned way if you're a coder, right? So you can program it yourself, or use one of the many website builders out there to build a website. And and there's some great ones out there. We have used WordPress for years, and WordPress is a fantastic tool. We actually use some other builders as well. So, but essentially it's the files and code, right? But then, in order for so once you build the website, you still need a place for the website to live, right? And a website is not just automatically live, it has to have a place to live. And so that kind of gets into the next piece a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about the whole do-it-yourself thing and do-it-yourself builders. Unless you're a website builder, and unless you want to spend hours of frustrating hours of trying to learn how to build a website, honestly, you're better off just hiring somebody to do it. Yes, that's a shameless plug, but my goodness, you've got better things to do. You've got a business to run. Why worry about trying to build out a website when it can take hours of learning curve and so forth. So, all right, so now that kind of leads to the next piece, which is the web hosting. The web hosting now, this is when you need a place for the website to live. One does not just have a website and have it somewhere. It has to live somewhere. So you essentially rent space, on a server, and that is somebody else's server. You do not want to you do not want to have a server in your basement somewhere. That's a recipe for disaster. There's security, uptime, and service considerations, all kinds of security issues and so forth that you don't want to mess with. So you can rent space on somebody else's server. It's cloud-based, and basically you can pay either a monthly or an annual fee. Now, some considerations again is, you want to think about the security for this. You want to think about uptime. You want to think about what kind of service am I getting? Am I just getting a hosting account, or am I getting some additional value-added service? We actually call that a care plan. But the idea of let's take WordPress for example. Very, very popular website builder, but it has some service needs, like you have to keep it updated on a regular basis. It comes out with new software versions, new plugin versions, and all kinds of security issues. So you want to keep up on all the updates and the maintenance. So that's an important service consideration that a hosting account itself may or may not provide. The other thing too is, again, back to, do I really want to learn how to update my website, add new content, or so forth? Or do I want to consider hiring somebody to do that for me as a service? And we call that a care plan. And so a hosting and care plan is what we call it. But either way, you're looking at some sort of a monthly or annual fee. And again, shameless plug, but strongly recommend hiring a professional to do that and focus on what you do best. And so let's kind of just jump into the summary then of what we've covered so far. So again, the domain name itself, you do it through a registrar, you own it once you buy it. However, you do have to pay an annual fee. You could register for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but be sure to stay on top of that to maintain the ownership, and be very, very careful delegating this so you don't somehow, inadvertently lose access, to your domain. We've seen it happen so many times, and I hate it when it happens, on behalf of these small, local businesses. So be very careful about this. Second then is the website itself. Again, typically that's just files and code. You can do it yourself. You can learn how to code. You can learn how to use a builder like WordPress, or there's lots of other ones out there. But then they still need a place to live in conjunction with your domain name. And then finally, the website then, the web hosting becomes the place where it actually lives in conjunction with the domain, and that's where you're renting space on a server. Now, typically, when you're renting space, if you're renting an apartment, if you're renting an apartment somewhere and you decide, well, I'm going to move, then you're going to lose access to that apartment. Same thing with web hosting. If you decide to leave, you're going to, to leave the company that you're working with, you're going to lose that space, and depending on how the website is set up, you can may be able to move the files and code to a new web hosting site. But again, things to consider, and of course, security, uptime, and service considerations. Web hosting will have a monthly or annual fee. So I hope this is helpful. The idea is that some of this may be kind of basic if you've done this many times before, but if this is the first time you've ever actually put together, you're starting a new business, you've never registered a domain before, you've never built a website before or had website hosting, I hope again this helps answer some of the questions that we hear on a regular basis, from our customers. And if this is helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that bell, and be notified. And again, we hope it's helpful here. We provide not just a website, but we provide an entire marketing system. And with WhirLocal, we build marketing systems to help you connect with your leads and convert them into customers in a way that we can cover all of this. Now we don't own the domain. You own the domain, but we can take care of building the website. We can take care of the hosting. We can take care of the marketing. We can take care of all of it for you. So we're local. We love working with local businesses. If you got any questions, just put it in the comments below. We're happy to try to answer and or be able to do it in a future video. So my name is Tim Fondrick, and I appreciate you spending time with me today. And again, I'm Tim Fondrick with WhirLocal. I'm the co-founder and CEO. WhirLocal, where we provide everything you need to market your local business. We're local and proud of it.